This time I would like to call the Flint Board of Education Annual Organization to order. It is 6:37 p.m. Board members, as I call your name, please reply present for the public record. Joyce Ellis McNeil.
Present.
Danielle Green.
Present.
Laura McIntyre.
Present.
Carol McIntosh.
You're on mute, Carol.
Present. Sorry, thank you.
Kira Perry.
Present.
And myself, Diana Wright, present. Before we begin the portion of our meeting which allows the public to address the board, we have a very distinguished guest with us who will perform the ceremonial swearing-in of our newly elected board members. With us this evening is the Honorable Judge Tabitha Marsh from the 67th District Court. And we'd like to congratulate her on that as well. Welcome, Judge Marsh.
Thank you.
The floor over to Judge Marsh to swear in Mrs. Joyce Ellis McNeil and Mrs. Laura McIntyre.
Thank you. It's my honor and privilege to be with you all tonight. I'm going to start with Joyce Ellis McNeil. If you could please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear or affirm.
I do solemnly swear and affirm
That I will support the Constitution of the United States.
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
And the Constitution of this state.
and the Constitution of this state,
And that I will faithfully discharge.
and I will faithfully discharge
The duties of office.
the duty of office
Of member of the Board of Education.
of member of the Board of Education
Of the School District of the City of Flint,
of the School District of the City of Flint,
Michigan, according to the best of my ability.
City of Flint, Michigan, according to the best of my ability.
Thank you very much, and congratulations to you.
Thank you.
If I could now have Laura McIntyre raise your right hand and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear or affirm
I do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of this state,
and the Constitution of this state,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of office
the duties of office
of member of the Board of Education
of member of Board of Education
of the School District of the City of Flint,
of the School District of the City of Flint,
Michigan, according to the best of my ability.
Michigan, according to the best of my abilities.
Thank you very much, and congratulations to you as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge Marsh, for assisting us with that this evening. Also, welcome and congratulate our board members. Thank you very much. At this time, we're here. Any comments from the public? Members of the public are reminded that the Board of Education, by its bylaw 1370, are not obligated to answer questions, make statements, or commitments in response to issues raised by the public. In general, such issues will be referred to the superintendent for investigation, study, or recommendation. Any public members wishing to address the board must raise their hand or submit a comment in the chat section to alert Stephen that you want to speak. Stephen will state your name prior to unmuting your microphone. You have 3 address the board. Please remember to restate your name and state your address for the public record before you begin speaking. Okay, Stephen, do you have anyone who wishes to address the board?
Good evening, board. I do have one that just came through. This is from Natisha Smith, and it reads, I'm trying to understand how you are going to have a 13+ kindergarten class with one teacher and expect these kids to learn for 5 days a week at 4 hours a day. And that is it for the questions.
We will turn that over. We'll pass that on to administration. The public is reminded that you may also send an email to Flint Board of Education at flintschools.org to have your comments read at a board. Thank you. The next portion of our meeting calls for election of officers. At this time, I would like to nominate Superintendent Stewart to serve as acting chair for action item 21-1. That is the motion before you. I seek a second.
So moved.
Second.
It has been properly moved and second that Mrs. Stewart serve as acting chair until a president is selected or elected. Are there any questions? Seeing no questions, I will now conduct a roll call vote. When I call your name, please say yes or no to this motion. Joyce Ellis and me.
Yes.
Danielle Green.
Yes.
Laura McIntyre.
Yes.
Yes.
Here, Perry.
Yes.
Diana Wright. Yes, the motion passes 6-0.
Thank you, Mrs. Wright. Action item 21.2 deals with the nomination and election of president. The process for the election is that I will entertain all nominations for this position. Once I have all nominations, we will have a roll call vote. I ask that when I call your name, you give the name of the candidate of your choice. Once I have completed the roll call and we have a majority vote, the selection for the office of president will be completed. Are there any questions or comments before we begin?
Yes, just in case a person is nominated and they don't want it, I think we should be asking that person when their name is called, do you accept the nomination?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments before we begin? As I stated, the first office is that of president for 2021. I will entertain all nominations at this time. Are there any nominations?
This is why we just nominate who we want, who we think. This is McNeil. I nominate Karen McIntosh.
Can we nominate ourselves or does somebody else have to do it?
You can nominate yourself, but Carol hasn't said anything.
Because nobody has given me the floor, I accept the nomination.
Okay, I nominate myself, Danielle Green.
I nominate myself, Diana Wright.
Any other nominations? So I have Carol McIntosh, Danielle Green, and Diana Wright. Any other nominations? All right, roll call vote. Joyce McNeil, can you please state the name of the candidate?
Karen McIntosh.
Danielle Green,
Danielle Green.
Laura McIntyre,
Carol McIntosh.
Carol McIntosh,
Carol McIntosh.
Vera Perry,
Mm.
We'll say woo.
Diana Wright.
Diana Wright,
Diana Wright.
okay, so that is 1, 2, 3. 3 for Carol, 1 for Danielle, and 2 for Diana Wright.
Got to take it around again.
Attorney Williams, are you on?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, yes.
So we have 3 for Carol, 1 for Danielle, and 2 for Diana Wright.
It requires a majority vote of those board members acting and serving, so that requires 4 votes.
Okay, so board members, we're gonna have to go around again. When I call your name, please tell me the name of the person that you would like to nominate. Joyce Ellis McNeil,
Carol McIntosh.
Danielle Green,
Danielle Green.
Laura McIntyre,
Carol McIntosh.
Carol McIntosh,
Carol McIntosh.
Vera Perry,
Diana Wright.
Diana Wright. I'm sorry, Mrs. Wright, I did not hear you.
I voted for Diana Wright myself.
It is still 3 for Carol, 1 for Danielle, and 2 for Diana Wright. Attorney Williams, it didn't change. Do we keep going until it changes?
Yes, that's you have to finish this this process, so you have to keep going.
Okay, so we go back around again. Joyce McNeil,
Karen McIntosh.
Danielle Green,
Carol McIntosh.
Laura McIntyre,
Carol McIntosh.
Carol McIntosh,
Carol McIntosh.
Vera Perry,
Well, we'll just go ahead and do Carol McIntosh.
McIntosh as well.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Wright, can you repeat that again?
You said Carol.
Mrs. Wright, can you
She
repeat that
said
again?
Carol. He said Carol.
Thank you. All right. Members of the board, we have reached a majority vote for president. The majority indicates that we will have Carol McIntosh serve as president for 2021. At this time, I would like to turn the floor over to our newly elected President Carol McIntosh. And Mrs. McIntosh, if you can hold on for 1 second so that I can email you the script. You should have it now.
And I don't.
You don't have it? It said it
No,
just
ma'am.
it says it just went through. Can you check your email again?
Let me check.
Okay.
No, my last email is from Monica. The
Okay, I'm gonna
reminder.
send it one more time. Well, no, I'll send it as much as I need it, but I'm just saying I'm sending it again.
Well, can you do this next round since we already voted on you and it's not coming up so we don't hold up?
Okay. So I sent it again. Yep. Yes, ma'am. If you could just let me know when you receive it, and then I'll turn it over to you. Okay.
Okay. I'm in my email. All
Yep.
right.
I will now continue the election process as outlined. Once I receive all nominations, I will conduct a roll call vote. If you can state the candidate name of choice for the election of vice president. Are there any nominations for vice president?
I would like to nominate Joyce Ellis McNeil.
Thank you.
Joyce Ellis McNeil, do you accept?
Yes, I accept.
Okay. Any other nominations for vice president?
I'd like to nominate Danielle Green myself.
And I know you accept because you're nominating yourself. Any other nominations for vice president?
I nominate Ms. Perry.
Ms. Perry, do you accept?
Yes.
Any other nominations for vice president? Seeing no other
Wait. I nominate Diane. No, I don't. No, I don't. She didn't. She passed up. So no, go ahead. I'm trying to still pull up the meeting. Go ahead.
Okay. Seeing no other nominations for vice president, we will have a roll call vote. Joyce Ellis McNeil, the candidate of choice for vice president.
I vote for myself.
Danielle Green.
Danielle Green myself.
Laura McIntyre.
Joyce Ellis McNeil.
Carol McIntosh.
Vera Perry.
Vera Perry.
Vera Perry.
Diana Wright.
Vera Perry.
So we have 2 for Joyce, 1 for Danielle, and 3 for Vera Perry. We'll have to go around again. When I call your name, please tell me your candidate of choice. Joyce McNeil.
I want to speed it up. Let's go Vera Perry.
Danielle Green.
Let's go Vera Perry.
Laura McIntyre.
Vera Perry.
Carol McIntosh.
Vera Perry.
Vera Perry.
Vera Perry.
Diana Wright. Members of the board, we have reached a majority vote for vice president. The majority indicates that we will have Vera Perry serve as vice president for 2021. Nomination action item 21.4, nomination and election for secretary. Are there any nominations for secretary?
I nominate Danielle Green.
Danielle Green, do you accept?
Yes, thank you, Laura.
Any other nominations for secretary? Seeing no other nominations for secretary, we will have a roll call vote. Joyce Ellis McNeil, candidate of choice.
Danielle Green.
Laura McIntyre.
Danielle Green.
I'm sorry, Danielle Green, I skipped her name. Danielle Green.
Danielle Green.
Carol McIntosh.
Danielle Green.
Vera Perry.
Danielle Green.
Diana Wright.
Danielle Green.
Members of the board, we have reached a majority vote for secretary. The majority indicates that we will have Danielle Green serve as secretary for 2021. Action item 21.5, nomination and election of treasurer. Any nominations for treasurer?
I nominate Diana Wright.
I nominate Laurie McIntyre.
I'm sorry, Diana Wright, do you accept?
Yes.
Laura McIntyre, do you accept?
Yes.
Any other nominations for treasurer? Seeing that there are no other nominations, we will have a roll call vote. Joyce McNeil, can you share the name of the candidate of choice?
Laurie McIntyre.
Laura McIntyre.
Laura McIntyre.
Danielle Green.
Laura McIntyre.
Carol McIntosh.
Diana Wright.
Vera Perry.
Diana Wright.
Diana Wright.
Diana Wright.
We have 3 for Laura McIntyre, 3 for Diana Wright. 4 members, we will have to go around again. Joyce Ellis McNeil.
Laurie McIntyre.
Laura McIntyre.
Laura McIntyre.
Danielle Green.
Laura McIntyre.
Carol McIntosh.
Diana Wright.
Vera Perry.
Diana Wright.
Diana Wright.
Wright.
We have 3 for Laura McIntyre and 3 for Diana Wright. Board members will have to go around again. Joyce Ellis McNeil,
Laura McIntyre.
Laura McIntyre,
Laura McIntyre.
Danielle Green,
Laura McIntyre.
Carol McIntosh,
Laura McIntyre.
Vera Perry,
Diana Wright.
Diana Wright,
Diana Wright.
we have 4 for Laura McIntyre and 2 for Diana Wright. Members of the board, we have reached a majority vote for treasurer. The majority indicates that we will have Laura McIntyre to serve as treasurer for 2021. Action item 21.6, nomination and election of assistant secretary treasurer. Are there any nominations?
I nominate Diana Wright.
I decline.
Any other nominations?
I nominate Joyce Ellis McNeil.
I decline.
Any other nominations?
It'll be just like last year, Superintendent Stewart and Board of Education, where if no one accepts, the position will not be filled. Is that my understanding?
Yeah, that's what we did last year.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say this, and this is just Vera talking. I would like to see one of the other new board members take that position, because I believe all new board members should come through finances, and they should step in as the assistant secretary treasurer. That way they get an experience to see, because anybody can, it doesn't take much to do the other positions and to understand the board packets when they come through. But that finance piece, as Danielle and Carol McIntosh know, that finance piece is a mother.
Yes.
And you need to understand where that money is coming from, how we do it. That's what I push so hard to see new board members come through as assistant secretary treasurer. I'm done.
I just want to second that. Ms. Perry encouraged that when I first got on the board, and I'm glad she did. That's how I discovered that money with GISD as the treasurer. So I highly recommend that.
I appreciate that input. Thank you very much. I think I'm going to do an outstanding job as treasurer. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mrs. McNeil, would you reconsider accepting?
No, I decline.
So that's, the seat will go vacant. Is that correct, Bo?
That is correct.
Okay. Where am I? Okay.
21.8.
Thank you. Thank you.
I think it's 21.7.
21.7.
Oh,
That was the,
you're right, Kendall. That's right.
okay, yes, thank you. Nomination and election of Assistant Secretary Treasurer Administration. I would like to nominate Mrs. Ayana Dumpre, Executive Director of Finance. Wait, she's still interim until after the board meeting, right, Mo? I want to
That's
make sure I say this right.
correct.
Okay. I would like to nominate Mrs. Ayana Dumpre, Interim Director of Finance. Are there any other nominations for Assistant Secretary, Treasurer, Administration? Seeing that no other nominations, we will conduct a roll call vote. Please say the candidate's name. Joyce Ellis McNeil.
Is that the candidate that you just nominated?
Ayana Dumpre.
Can I come back? Can you come back to me? I was reading something. Go ahead.
Are you giving me a name or am I coming back to you, Mrs. Ellis McNeil?
Come back to me. Yeah, I'm working. Come back to me.
Okay. Danielle Green.
Ms. Dumpre.
Laura McIntyre.
Ayana Dumpre.
Carol McIntosh.
Ms. Dumpre.
Vera Perry.
Dumpre.
Diana Wright.
Ms. Dumpre.
Joyce Ellis McNeil.
Ms. Dumpre.
Members of the board, we have reached a majority vote for the Assistant Secretary Treasurer Administration. The majority indicates that we will have Ayana Dumpre, who will serve as Assistant Secretary Treasurer Administration for 2021. At this time, I would like for us to have a round of applause for all of our new board officers for 2021. (21.8) Appointment of Flint Board of Education Liaison and Alternate to the Genesee County Association of School Board Members. Executive Committee for 2021. Seeking nominations. In the past, the President and the Vice President has served. But we can also have other board members to volunteer to serve in these positions.
And where are we at? Because I'm trying to still pull up the minutes and get back to the main screen. You're on 21 points.
21.8.
Okay.
I volunteer to serve.
Okay, I finally got it pulled up.
Hey, Joyce McNeil volunteered to serve.
Mrs. McIntyre, since you nominated yourself, I'm assuming that you accept.
Yes.
Joyce Ellis McNeil, since you nominated yourself, I'm assuming that you accept.
Yes.
Any other nominations? So we have a liaison and an alternate. I need a motion and a second to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, some more for clarity, because we have two names. One goes in one spot and one goes in the other. How does this work?
So McIntyre, who was the first nominee, would be our main liaison. She would represent the board at the meetings, and when she cannot attend, then it will be Ellis McNeil as the alternate.
Okay. So it has been properly moved and second that we appoint Laura McIntyre as the Flint School Liaison and Joyce Ellis McNeil as the Flint Schools alternate to the Genesee County Association of School Board Members Executive Committee 2021. Any discussion? Seeing no further discussion, the motion to approve action item 21.8 will be conducted by a roll call vote. As I call your name, please say yes or no to approve this motion. Joyce Ellis McNeil,
Yes.
Danielle Green,
Yes.
Laura McIntyre,
Yes.
Carol McIntosh,
Yes.
Vera Perry,
Yes.
Diana Wright.
Yes.
The motion passes with 6 yeses, 0 nos. This concludes our annual organization meeting. This meeting is adjourned at 7:14 p.m.
Ms. McIntosh?
Yes.
Well, President McIntosh, have you received your script yet from me?
I think this is it for the annual organization meeting for January 13th. Now I got to get in the meeting though. So I've got to
Right.
figure
You
this
got to
up.
pull up the one for the board cow because it's the 6:45 now. So we're going to
Okay.
do the 45. So pull up the board cow.
Board meeting. Oh, hold on. Let me see.
Hey,
Special board meeting. Which one am I going to? Because I have 3 here. The first one is annual organization meeting. We just did that, right?
Correct.
Now we're on board committee of the whole meeting. Yep. Now how do I get? So am I already in the meeting, or how do I get to my next meeting now and keep this up?
You're going to stay here. So follow the script and start our committee of the whole meeting right now.
Oh, I don't have to go out of this and go into something else. Okay.
We do, but that's after we take a roll call vote.
Okay. I like to call.
Mo,
Yes. Yes.
he kicked me out.
What did, hon?
It says I'm connected to the webinar, but should I launch it again?
No, you're here. I mean, I see you.
I don't see anybody. I've got writing. Oh, it says you have a session running already. You cannot. Okay. Well, my face is gone. Everybody's face is gone. What's going on here?
Stephen, can you
That's
assist?
okay. I can help it. That's okay. I don't have to be seen.
Can you still see the bar, the windows on the right side?
Yes.
If you click that, does it bring up the window? Usually when you click it anywhere on there, it'll bring up the window.
Wait a minute. Which bar?
The just the toolbar for the webinar.
Oh, my audio is working now.
Hey,
Your
there we
audio's
go.
working?
Yeah.
Okay. That's okay. I'll just talk. I don't have to see people. I'll just butt in if I have to say something.
Yeah, your connection is just fine because on our end, at least, we can see you.
Okay.
President McIntosh, are you ready?
Yes, I can't see anybody either, but I'm ready.
Okay, go ahead and follow your script just as it was presented for the cow.
I would like to call the Flint Board of Education Board Committee of the whole meeting to order at 7:16 p.m. Will be board members. As I call your name, please reply present for the public record. Joyce Ellis McNeil,
present.
Danielle Green,
Present.
Laura McIntyre,
Present.
myself present, Vera Perry,
Present.
Diana Wright.
Present.
At this time, the board will hear any comments from the public. Members of the public are recommended that the Board of Education, by its law 1370, are not obligated to answer questions, make statements or comments, and respond to issues raised by the general. Such issues will be referred to the superintendent for investigation, study, or recommendation. Any public members wish to address the board must submit a comment in the chat section or raise their hand to alert Stephen that you would like.
Stephen.
Okay, well, Stephen will state your name prior to unmute your microphone. You will have 3 minutes to address the board. Please remember to state your name and state the public record before you begin speaking. The public is recommended that you may also send in emails to FBOE@flintschools.org to have your comments read at a board meeting. Thank you.
Good evening, board. I do have a couple comments here. The first from Jolena Freeman. She says, congratulations, everyone. Next comment is from Alexis Love. Her question reads, when will the other board member be elected into office? And then I have another comment here from Ben Stein. His question reads, what are the plans for Southwestern High School and overall privatization? And then I also have a comment from Kenyatta Dotson. I will turn over the microphone to her here in just 1 second.
Is it time for me to go into closed session yet?
Sorry,
No.
no, I do have, Ms. Dotson does have a comment. I'm trying to unmute
Oh,
her.
sorry. I got distracted.
Ms. Dotson, you are self-muted, so if you'd like to make a comment, please click the unmute button.
Okay. Hi, can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. First of all, congratulations to Carol McIntosh and all of the newly elected board members. Well done on your elected seats. Looking forward to the great work that you will do for 2021. My name is Kenyatta Dotson, and board members and staff, it's so good to be back in front of you again today. First of all, thank you for your service and the tireless efforts you exhibit on behalf of Flint kids and families. I know personally all of what you do, seen and unseen, because I know you do so much that many don't even know about. Today, I stand here on behalf of the Flint community, social workers, parents, community advocates, so many givers and so many doers, in representation of a very dear friend, colleague, and educator, Danielle Brown. Danielle was a product of Flint Community Schools and a proud graduate of Flint Northern High School, 1989, class of 1989. She contributed countless hours to children throughout the Flint school system and beyond. I couldn't help but come here today just to give reverence to Danielle, given all that she did, not only at Southwestern, but in so many other Flint schools throughout the city of Flint. I know firsthand how Danielle poured into the students at the school to make sure that their needs were met, that not only in the area of literacy, but even their basic needs, to make sure that they felt like they were somebody. Danielle was just that kind of person. Much of what Danielle had given, we will never know about. She wasn't looking for a pat on the back. She wasn't looking for her names to be in light. She just wanted to make sure that the lives of children were better. And as a person who does a lot in the Flint community around violence, Danielle and I understand that when it comes to violence, literacy is at the forefront to make sure that our children understand how to read, how to write, and how to advocate for themselves. She knew firsthand that education was and is a pathway to success. Today, I ask that the board consider carrying on the memory, contributions, and the legacy of Danielle Nadine Brown by recognizing her at an upcoming board meeting, and possibly by naming a community room and maybe even a library in her honor. I'm just asking that the board at least have a conversation about what might can happen in the honor and in the memory and in the name of Danielle, given the many lives that she has saved as it relates to the students at our Flint community schools. Many have gone on to college, continue their education, and live today because of Danielle. So thank you so very much, board members, staff, the Flint community, we stand with you. Please continue to serve with honor, Kenyatta Dotson. Thank you for your time in this regard.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kenyatta.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are those all of the announcements? Or is that?
President
Sorry.
McIntosh, President McIntosh,
Yes.
can I request that we have a moment of silence for Danielle Brown, as well as a teacher who passed away in December, Olga Mae Henley. Next week at our regular board meeting, I will acknowledge both of them in my communique, but just requesting that we have a moment of silence for both.
Absolutely. Would you like to do that at the top of the session now or on the end?
Yes, ma'am. Can we do it now
Yes, we can.
before you go into the closed session?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, if it's okay with the rest of the board, I don't have a problem with it.
Fine with me.
Board members, can we take a moment of silence for Ms. Danielle Brown and Ms. Olga Mae Henley? We may start now. Thank you. Mrs. Danielle Brown was someone who served in the community. Ms. Olga Mae Henley was a teacher at Rotc Elementary School, and both of them will be recognized in my communique at the regular board meeting next Wednesday. Thank you, President McIntosh.
Thank you. At this time, I seek a motion and a second to go into closed session to meet with the board attorney to receive attorney-client confidential information, legal opinion regarding settlement agreements. We must have a motion and a proper second to go into closed session.
So moved. Come on, y'all, talk.
Second. It has been properly moved to second. When I call upon your name, please say yes or no to go into closed session. Joyce Ellis McNeil,
Yes.
Danielle Green,
Yes.
Laura McIntyre,
No.
Carol McIntosh, yes. Vera Perry,
Yes.
Diana Wright.
Yes.
The yeses have it. Board members, we are closed session. You must close out, go to webinar, and go into the private Zoom meeting. Invite you received from Monica. The public will return we will return here after we come out of closed session. A message to the public. I would like to call the board committee meeting of the whole back in order. I will conduct a roll call to ensure everyone has returned. Board members, as I call your name, please say present for the record. Joyce Ellis McNeil.
Present.
Danielle Green.
Present.
Laura McIntyre.
Present.
Carol McIntosh, I am here. Ms. Vera Perry.
Here.
Ms. Diana Wright.
Present.
Okay, everybody's back in the meeting. I'd like to go to the new business action items. Human Resource Committee of a whole action item 1.1, personnel recommendations. Ms. Washington.
Good evening, esteemed board members and community. Congratulations, Board President McIntosh, and newly elected board members. Congratulations. I seek your approval to move action item 1.1, personnel recommendations, to the regular board meeting on January the 20th, 20th, 2021 for approval.
So moved.
So moved.
Seconded. It has been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion?
Point of order. Madam President, you shouldn't be
ma'am.
seconding anything. You've got board members to say second.
Yeah, I can't see my script though. Let me get my script back up so I won't be in trouble then. I can't do that portion. All right. All right. I'm back with you. So we need a second then. Ms. Perry said I can't second.
Second.
It has been moved and properly seconded. Where I'm at. Let's see. January. It has been properly seconded. Is there any discussion?
I have a question.
Go ahead, Ms. McIntyre.
Are we forwarding this recommendation with one of the recommendations for employment with the salary to be determined? Why is that?
The one for the JROTC instructor, the salary is based upon the Navy minimum instructor's pay. And so we have reached out to that office for the commander to send that information. The person that manages that process is currently out of the office, but is expected to return this week. We will establish the salary based upon the minimum instructor's pay because part of it, half of it, the salary is funded through the government. And so once we get what their retirement salary is, we will align that to the salary schedule for their salary. Did that answer your question, Ms. McIntyre?
Well, why are we moving it forward if we don't know what the salary is?
Well, this individual is ready to come on board and is currently in the process. We expect to have that information from the department prior to. And so he has completed all of the paperwork, the onboarding process. We did not want to place him in appropriately on the salary schedule without the minimum instructor's pay. But this program has scholars and they're waiting for an instructor to help to facilitate the naval program at Southwestern.
Does that answer any questions for you, Ms. McIntyre?
Oh, no, I don't understand why we're not getting an amount before putting it forward, though. That's.
Ms. McIntyre, could I speak, President?
Go ahead, Ms.
Ms.
Perry.
McIntyre, if they can have it to us by next week, next meeting, because this is just our cow meeting, would that make you comfortable?
Would make me more comfortable.
Okay. Can you all get that information?
Yes, ma'am. That's what we're working on. The person is expected to be back in the office this week. And so we'll be able to have that document.
I would appreciate it, as soon as possible. I
Get it.
mean, if he's expecting to get paid, we should be expecting to have an amount that we're going to agree to pay him.
Even if you get it tomorrow, can you email that out to the board as soon as you get that information?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anybody else with any questions? I have a question myself. I can't see you guys, so that's why I'm. Also, what I see it has it's ROTC and military, so I take it that he has military experience. So what fund did you say this will be coming out of?
So this is the general fund, but part of it is 50% paid by the district and the other 50% is paid by the military. And so that is the setup through the government for retirees that come to provide instruction in school districts. And so that's why we need the minimum instructor's pay of his retiree pay so that we can align him appropriately on the salary schedule.
Okay.
So pardon me for being very ignorant, but why are we what's our connection with the military?
We
Um,
have, I'm sorry.
why do we have an instructor who's being half paid by the military and half paid? What's the connections with the public schools?
We have a naval JROTC program in Southwestern. And so this program offers an opportunity for scholars to participate in a program in the interest of them going to the military. And so we need qualified instructors to come and provide that instruction and training to our scholars. And so, and then
Need this?
also, I'm sorry, you asked, do we need this?
Yeah, do we need this? Why do we need this?
Well, this is a program to offer an option to our scholars for continued education and training, for their advancement into either colleges and universities or into other career opportunities. And so this is one of the programs that is being offered at our Southwestern High School.
But it's specifically a military program.
Yes,
And with military academic opportunities. If it's something the military would like, why don't they fund it themselves?
Well, they fund half of the salary, but I can get more information for you.
I think if they want to have a military program that they can fund it themselves, I'm not even sure I'd like that in the Flint schools. It's part of, I'd rather see our students have better opportunities. No disrespect to the military, but I'd like to see our students going into the trades and into colleges and actually getting an educational opportunity. If the military would like to provide more opportunities, they're certainly welcome to, with the support of the community, to offer that. But I'm not entirely convinced that it's something that we need to fund. A lot
Madam
of school
President,
districts do not participate with the ROTC programs.
Madam President, may I have a word? May I speak?
Ms. McIntyre, are you still speaking, or do you
No,
still?
I'm
Okay.
good. I'm open to discussion. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to recognize Ms. Wright at this time.
Yes, the ROTC program has been probably one of the last special programs that we have to offer our high school students, which as a board member, I don't have an issue with the matching of the salary for the person, but I know numerous students who have used that program as a vehicle to not only go forth into the military and get further education, but it has also been a game changer as far as some students who may have had behavior issues, because it teaches them discipline in addition to the academic portion of the program. And we're not offering our students a lot of specialized programs at this time. And I am in full support of the ROTC program, which has been a part of Flint Community Schools since my children were in high schools in the 70s. And like I said, it's one of the last things we have left that's just out of the norm of the regular K-12 education. So I'm hopeful that we don't get rid of that for whatever reason.
Yeah.
McIntyre.
All right, we have Ms. Green. Is there anybody else who'd like their
You have
name on?
Ms. McNeil's hand, and then you have Ms. McIntyre.
Okay, go ahead, Ms. Green.
I just want to piggyback off of what Mrs. Wright just said, and I do understand what Ms. McIntyre says. She feels that skilled trades and that's all good, but we do have to acknowledge, even though the military wasn't for me or anybody I know it did some positive things when I went to Northern. People, look forward to going in the military. I don't quite get it, but I'm not against it. I'm actually for it because it's positive. So even though something may not be for me, I would ask that we be open-minded and see, just because it's not for me and my daughters, it could be for somebody else. And we need to keep that in mind as we move forward.
Okay.
And
Mike
Neal to
Ms.
speak.
Neal is next.
Yeah.
Ms. McNeil, floor.
Can you guys hear me pretty well?
Mhm.
I want to say that the ROTC program has been a big enhancement for the African American community. As a Black mom, as a mom raising an African American son, watching something happen, the ROTC is what kept him. You know, he had behavior issues. He was suffering from, in this documentary called Push Out. And we have to look at that because it brings so much energy back to the community. I have seen over at Southwestern, when a kid is over at the Job Corps and get involved in ROTC, they communicate better, they learn better, and it's kind of like a replacement for what has been taken, especially from broken home. I support this program because I've seen the change in it. My granddaughter is 15 and she was failing, but when she got off in ROTC, she's a 4.0 because this does something with them where I can't reach them as a teacher or a mom, the ROTC does it. And I think it's great that in most all your schools, the government comes in and pay half of it. They get that military experience. They're proud of themselves and they walk out being a better person than they walk in. And that's the purpose of the ROTC. And the African American community is a big plus.
All right. Thank you, Miss McIntyre.
Yeah, I'm regardless of my support or lack of support for the program, and I'm not questioning that. What I'm questioning is that when I ran for school board, I ran on an abolitionist program, which was to end the school to prison pipeline. And there's a direct correlation between the military industrial complex and the school to prison pipeline. And I think it's really sad that we're clinging to the vestiges of a military organization to give Flint students hope. You know, we eliminated the AB program. I'm thinking of many other programs that are equally, if not more, beneficial to our students. And you know, the military, our military in the United States has a $760 billion budget. I think that if they would like to promote a military program, that they can certainly cough up the money to provide the instruction for that. It's not that it's not necessarily beneficial, although I might disagree with you about that point. You know, the seminary and theological school is also beneficial to some students as well, and yet we're not going to be subsidizing that in our public schools. And so I'm just, you know, for the record, I'm not, there are many schools, many elite schools that ban ROTC because it is a matter of race and class, bringing the military and school resource officers and the police into the schools, and they're disproportionately represented in urban schools like Flint. And so, you know, I just want to state for the record, I'm not in support of us paying for that, you know, for subsidizing that. Like I said, if they want to take it out of their $760 billion budget, they're welcome to do that. And I certainly don't want to move forward a personnel recommendation with a to be determined salary, regardless of whether we're paying for half of it or not. So that's where I stand.
This is McIntosh. This is McIntosh.
Yes, ma'am. Miss Wright.
I agree with Ms. McIntyre on the salary portion of her comment. I believe that should be brought back when there's a salary attached to it.
Okay. So
Well,
if,
administration has said they'll have that back to us before the board meeting on Wednesday.
If that happens, I'm fine with that.
okay, Miss McIntyre, does that satisfy you at this point?
It will, up to that point, I'm still not in support of that.
Okay.
I'd rather have our funds go to the AB program or to some, you know, a different academic program.
Okay, is there any further discussion? Okay, Seeking no more discussion, the motion to move action item 1.1 to the regular board meeting for adoption will be conducted by a roll call vote. As I call your name, please say yes or no to approve this motion. Joyce Ellis McNeil,
Yay. Yes.
Danielle Green,
Yes.
Laura McIntyre,
No.
Carol McIntosh, yes. Miss Vera Perry,
Yes.
Miss Diana Wright,
Yes, pending the salary is present on next Wednesday.
right. We have 5 yeses and 1 no. The yeses have. Thank you, Mrs. Washington.
Thank you.
Action, new business. Action item 21.9, new business. Board Committee of the Whole. Resolution to settle MIOSHA citations. Calling upon Superintendent Stewart to fill us in on this.
I seek your approval to move action item 21.9, resolution to settle my OSHA citation to the regular board meeting on January 20, 2021 for approval.
It is. Did we already move this? Did we move this already? Yes.
No, I've
No.
been waiting.
No, you
We
haven't
were in
had a,
closed session. We couldn't.
Okay. So now, okay. Could we get a second? It has been properly moved and seconded. Is there any more discussion? Following discussion, okay. Seeking no further discussion. We've already went through the vote, so let me see where we're at. We're on new business, right? Yep, new business.
No, we have not voted on this. We have to vote on this.
Okay, I thought we already voted. I done got tangled up. Just take it
No,
easy.
you cannot vote in closed session. We left closed session and now
Oh,
we're in open
no,
meeting.
okay.
We vote in
Right.
open meetings.
Right. We're on something else. I'm sorry. That was the last thing. Okay. Is there any discussion on this? You said no, and it's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion?
I'd like to.
Go
I'd
ahead.
like. I would just like to apologize to the community for having to go into closed session. I know that it's very frustrating to have things, kept from parents, from students, and I made a promise that I would try to eliminate closed sessions as much as possible. That being said, I think that moving forward with our new board, that hopefully we'll have less and less of these closed sessions, and that the situations that actually precipitated the need to have a closed session will be eliminated and reduced in the future as well. I would really encourage more and more openness, honesty, transparency moving forward, and I look forward to working with this board and to sharing all of that work with the community and the parents and students. Thank you.
Is there any more discussion concerning action item 2110? Seeing no further discussion, the motion to move action item 2110 to the regular board meeting for adoption will be conducted by a roll call. As I call your name, please say yes or no to approve this motion. Joyce Ellis McNeil,
Yes.
Danielle Green,
Yes.
Laura McIntyre,
Yes.
Carol McIntosh, yes. Vera Perry,
Yes.
Diana Wright.
Yes.
The motion passes by a vote of 6-0. Moving on to new business, action item 21.10. Okay, we already just did that. Let me see,
We have not done 2110.
new business action items, board community of the whole action item 2110, gifts and donations. Calling upon Superintendent Stewart to lead us on action item 2110.
I seek your approval to move action item 2110, gift and donations, to the special board meeting tonight. To the to the special board meeting tonight, January 13th, 2021 for approval.
It has been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
It has not been moved in. No, it hasn't.
Did we look at this already? Well, this is what my script says, so I'm tangled up. Okay, so we're on the boards and the gifts and donation. And so what must we do this? We have to move this. So has this been moved and properly seconded? Is that where we're at with this then?
Well, first,
Danielle, you're muted.
you know she is.
Oh.
First of all, what are the gifts and donations?
Right. Is that in my thing?
In your packet.
Yes. So in your packet, there was a donor who donated a check for $150 in the name of Mrs. Olga Mae Henley, the teacher who passed at Brownell Elementary School. And the check was donated for Flint Community Schools. It was sent to me as a superintendent. And because it was donated in honor of Mrs. Olga Mae Henley, I thought that that check should go towards the students at Brownell Elementary School, which is where she served. So it is a check for $150 that I am seeking approval for the board to accept.
Thank you. So moved.
Second.
It has been moved and properly seconded. Is there any further discussion? Seeing no further discussion.
I'm sorry to prolong this, but I would just like to really underscore Ms. Mae Henley's service to the district. That's 28 years and 3 months. And I really appreciate the time and dedication that she's given to our school district. So thank you for the for whoever donated the fund in her honor, and as a board member, I will gratefully accept it in her honor. Thank you.
Mrs. McIntyre, on page 12 of your board packet, you will find the donor's information.
Oh, yes, yes.
I'm sorry, did I say page 20? On page 20 of your board packet, you will find the donor's information.
Yes, thank you so much to Claudia Bowers.
Did that person want their name said?
The person did not ask to remain anonymous.
We just
They
need
did
to be
not ask
careful.
for that.
But we need to be careful throwing people's names out. Sometimes people don't want their names out there.
Understood.
Just say thank you and let's move on.
Okay. Is there any more discussion? Okay, it has been moved and properly seconded. And that will be voted on, to my understanding, next week. It seems to be a mix up with our packet. So we're going to move on because we're voting on that next week because we moved to the next week.
Point of clarity, President McIntosh, the approval is to move it to the board meeting to move it to the regular board meeting for approval for next week. Yes.
Okay,
so that's what you're voting on, to move it to I'm seeking your approval to move it to the regular board meeting, and you'll vote on it next week.
Okay, so that's what, and we just seek the approval to move it to next. So we're voting to move it to the next board meeting for next week too.
Yeah, so you still have to go through the roll call.
Hey, I got you.
Yes.
So as I call your name, please say yes or no to approve the motion to be moved to next week's board meeting.
Yes.
Miss Joyce Ellis McNeil.
Yes.
Miss Danielle Green.
Yes.
Miss Laura McIntyre.
Yes.
Carol McIntosh, myself, yes. Vera Perry.
Yes.
And Miss Diana Wright.
Yes.
Vote passes 6 yes, 0 no's. Thank you, Ms. Stewart. Next, we'll be moving to the Academic Committee of the Whole, action item 25.1, celebrating Black History Month in Flint Community Schools. And we'll be hearing from Assistant Superintendent Jones.
Greetings, everyone. Congratulations to all of you for your new appointments. I seek your approval to move action item 25.1, celebrating Black History Month in Flint Community Schools, to the regular board meeting on January 20th, 2021 for approval.
It is, so we're going to have this moved and properly seconded. Somebody. So we are seeking approval to move this action item to the regular board meeting on January 20th, 21 for approval.
So moved.
Second.
It has been properly moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Seeing no further discussion, the motion to move action item 25.1 to the regular board meeting for adoption will be conducted by a roll call vote. As I call your name, please say yes or no to approve the motion. Joyce Ellis McNeil.
Yes.
Danielle Green. Ms. Green, did she respond?
I said yes.
Okay. Laura McIntyre.
Yes.
Carol McIntosh, yes. Vera Perry.
Yes.
Diana Wright.
Yes.
The motion passes 6-0. Thank you, Mr. Jones.
Welcome.
We'll be going to the Academic Committee of the Whole. We're looking at action items 25.2, authorization to purchase approved items from school improvement, the SIG grant funds for the operational year of 21. I'm going to call upon Ms. Murphy to direct this portion of the meeting.
Good evening, board, and congratulations to our newly appointed officers of the board. We look forward to working closely with you. I seek your approval to move action item 25.2, authorization to purchase approved items from school improvement SIG grant for fiscal year 21 to the regular board meeting on January 20th, 2021 for approval.
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Ms. McIntyre, is that you wanting the floor?
Yes, please.
Please, we recognize you, Ms. McIntyre. Go ahead.
Yeah, I have a lot of questions actually about some of these line items. There's one that says the list will be uploaded to Megs. Has it? I couldn't find it. Function code 125 on page 25. Is there a list?
Yes, so this grant has been previously approved by the Michigan Department of Education, and MEGS is our electronic grant system where we upload additional documents where we can't fit all the descriptions in the line items. So we give them a full list, if it's materials or supplies, of what's included in that line item to justify the costs associated with it. So that's the Michigan Department of Education's grant system. It's not your board system.
Okay. So do we have access to those items, or could that be provided to us? That's only for $3,500, but
It's very hard to read. It's very hard to read.
Very hard to read, and I wondering why we are providing, why are we paying, or why are we using these funds to subsidize a makerspace and an instructor for the makerspace? Isn't that something that I thought we had an MOU with either the cultural center or with Kettering or the University of Michigan, there's a lot of things that I have questions about. So I'm not really comfortable with these expenditures. Is there any more information that I could have about how this money is being spent?
So what you have there provided in your board packet is the full grant for the school improvement grant. What may be beneficial is to provide some background information of the entire program to make sure that all of your questions are answered. I'm not sure if it is appropriate, and I would defer to Superintendent Stewart or Assistant Superintendent Jones. If there are a list of questions, you mentioned you had several, that will give us an opportunity to respond to them. I want to make sure that you are given all the information that you desire so that you can understand the current status of this program.
Yeah, because I don't have any information actually, and I'm wondering why is it my understanding that we're paying the University of Michigan Flint, we're giving the outreach and engagement money for a program for the Flint schools? Is that correct?
They are a contractor for this grant initiative. That is correct.
Why?
So initially, this is our 5th year operating the school improvement grant for Southwestern. And initially, the desire was for us to hire direct hires who would be Flint Community School Districts that would be coaches, instructional coaches for teachers that will be able to conduct instructional walkthroughs to improve instruction and provide feedback for teachers. However, on the first 2 years of this grant, those positions went unfilled because we were not able to recruit qualified individuals to fill those positions. In an effort to satisfy the grant requirements and to also provide the teachers, the instructors with the proper instructional coaching support, we looked at other universities and received competitive bids to determine who could provide those services through their K-12 outreach programs. And so that's how this came about.
Wow.
Hey, Miss Kiana Murphy, I have a question. You said this program been around for about 5 years. What is the success of this program? Have it been some type of evaluation been done on it?
So the school improvement grant is a grant that the district applies for, and Southwestern was awarded this grant, as I stated 5 years ago. This is the 5th year of this initiative. So every year we complete a program evaluation, and we use what's called an unpacking tool and a school improvement platform to review student data to determine which initiatives are being successful. We do have a school improvement coordinator that works at Southwestern, and she is the main point of contact for this grant initiative.
Who is
And
that?
so
Who
name is
that?
Cynthia Bell. She is our school improvement grant coordinator. And so she works to oversee the implementation of the initiatives outlined in the grant alongside of Mr. Akaniki, our high school principal.
And I have seen this program in your school. I was just wondering the success of it based on the teacher. Does the teacher get an opportunity to evaluate it because it does affect them, or the success of it? Have we had any reports on what the teacher think of this program?
I would have to reach out to Ms. Bell to identify what data sources she has, if she's collected data from the teachers themselves in regards to their involvement with the school improvement grant.
Okay, because I think the teachers had a lot of input on that program when I was floating around in the schools, and I just like to see what are their opinion about and what need to be done to modify it to make it more suitable with the teacher where they can really get the full benefit from it.
And I have another question.
Sure.
So you mean to tell me that the SIG academic engagement officer position, you could not fill that position for a salary of $37,000, $37,597 with a benefit package of $26,129. You couldn't find someone in the Flint community who was qualified to run that and who was willing to do that for that salary? That position remained unfilled?
So to give some background information, that position is currently filled by a Flint Community Schools direct hire position.
Okay.
However, and it was filled before, however, that person was promoted within the district to a principal. They're currently a principal at a school now. And so there was a period of time where the position was vacant. So it is filled now with the Flint Community Schools staff person.
And so you mean to say that we can't find qualified people who are willing and able to do these positions without subcontracting to the University of Michigan Flint? Because I'm struggling here as a former instructor for a K through 12 program. I taught deep instruction for Southwestern and Northwestern. And saw firsthand how mismanaged that whole program was and how the Flint schools were dropped out of the U of M K through 12 program. And I'm really not happy with that. That program's already been bungled, and now we're going to hand it over to Outreach, U of M Flint Outreach.
I think I missed the initial beginning part of your question, Ms. McIntyre.
Well,
I just want to make sure I understand.
Like why we can't keep it in-house? Why are we subcontracting with the university or with the Office of Outreach with the University of Michigan Flint?
So the explanation that I provided around the recruiting and finding a qualified individual to fill that position, that is why we looked at other options so that the teachers could still receive that support.
I'm sorry. Maybe I'm really ignorant, but I don't understand what you just said. Like why are we subcontracting instead of
You know what?
So
I got to say point of order. Point of order. If I think a board member is having a problem, that person needs to go into the finance areas and sit down and get that discussed. We're holding up a board meeting because she's having some issues, whatever those issues may be. And I think the questions that are being asked now can maybe better understood if she's sitting looking you in your face and you can show her the paperwork. That's just where I'm feeling, because it's just I don't know. It's too much. This is too much.
May I speak, President?
Who am I? Who is the? I can't see it. Yes, please, Assistant Superintendent Ms. Jones.
Okay, we are more than willing to sit down with any of our board members to talk about our SIG grant. And I'm sure that our HR department is more than willing to do the same in an effort to bring you up to speed with what this program is all about. Also, I just wanted to openly thank Ms. Murphy for her explanations and giving the information to you. So we're more than willing to do that at your convenience.
Can I ask, are any of the board members privy to any of these details? I mean, have these questions been asked at all about the SIG grant? I mean, does
Ask
anyone have any of the details?
Oh, I don't remember the details. As a former treasurer, let me just say this, Ms. McIntyre. As a former treasurer, it was a lot of questions about a lot of stuff. I can't remember the details exactly, but questions were asked. Like I said, I can't remember off the top of my head, but Kiana and Ms. Don Prey never had a problem, or I never left feeling like my questions weren't resolved. So, like Terry said, I do think it probably would be a good idea to sit down with them one-on-one or whatever, because they do have answers. I've never had a problem. If they didn't know something, I didn't have a problem getting it a little later. So, like I said, treasurer, I had a lot of questions and and I always get answers. So,
may I make a comment? Miss Green, may I make a comment?
yes, ma'am.
No, I'm sorry, I meant Miss McIntosh.
Oh.
Other than Miss Wright, is there anyone else who'd like to be recognized? Okay, Miss Wright, go ahead.
I want to just state that the SIG grant has been around for quite some time, and that a large, well, I should say that the schools themselves actually write the grant. Am I correct, Mrs. Murphy?
That is correct.
So
they use a similar school improvement process like they would for their title budget. So
right. So the schools themselves actually write the grants, just, which in most of those types of grants that come from the state, they're given to the schools so that you can work on areas of improvement. And so the best way to do that is having it done by the people who need to do the work. So a lot of times, the board is not making decisions about what is included in those grants. That comes from the schools. Now, as far as the personnel used to fulfill components of the grant, because all these things have to be written into the grant, they have to be approved by the state, and there's a whole team of coaches who work with the schools to make sure that the grant and what they are writing in it fulfills the criteria required by the grant. So it's not something that the board approves. The state approves that grant. We don't approve that grant. So that's one thing I need, I would like for our new board members to understand, that we sort of approve what someone else has already approved, simply because we are the fiduciaries here in the district. So we just have to also say, yes, we know that our people did this and they met the criteria of the state as well. So I think that it would be important for the new board members and some of us who could use a refresher for the state and federal office to meet with us and share the various grants that they have, so that we can begin to, as different people speak about or request approvals, then you'll understand this comes with this set of strings. This comes with another set of strings, because every grant has a different set of strings.
Yes.
And so when they sit and share the different grants that they have, they can also share, here are the main strings that go with this grant. Because one thing, those of us who have been on the board for a while know, if we could do what we wanted to do with all the money that comes in this district, we could solve all our problems. But the problem is, you can't do this with that one, but you can't do it with the other one. You can't do this with the other one, but you can't do it with another. They all have strings. So my suggestion would be that we have some type of professional workshop or something where the grants are reviewed, and the grants versus general fund, because general fund can't do all the things that a grant can do. So that would be my recommendation, because I think we're getting hung up on what's in the grant with the people who really didn't put it there. because Ms. Murphy didn't write the grant. She just oversees the grant. So, you know, hopefully my comments were helpful to the new members.
Okay.
I'd like to respond if I may.
Go ahead, Miss Laura.
Yes, thank you so much, Mrs. Wright. And with all due respect, I'm very familiar with grants, writing them, receiving them, implementing them, supervising them. I mean, I understand that they have strings that are attached to them. And I feel like as a new board member that the community and the people that voted for me have tasked me with a stewardship of, you know, the money that's coming in and going out, and looking at some of these things, especially something called a school improvement grant. I mean, one of the things that the Flint Community Schools is in dire need of is improvement. And it's one of the reasons why we were brought on as new board members. And I have a vast amount of experience in education and in grant writing. So I do understand those things. And I do have some very serious questions about some of the details that are included in this grant. And it's not because of not knowing how grants work, but of knowing all too well how grants work and how the city of Flint works. So I will not be supporting this, you know, passing the budget as it's presented to us as the board without a little bit more investigation and some of these questions that I have being answered.
Well, and that's exactly the point that I made about having
A workshop.
a meeting with them to speak specifically to the grants and to answer your questions about the specific grants. So, because here again, every grant, as I said before, has a different set of guidelines. And so, you know, it's not to say you don't know anything about grants. It's just the questions you're asking are not directed to the right person, I guess, that's my concern. Because the schools wrote the grant, not Ms. Murphy.
I understand. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? Okay. Seeing no further discussion, the motion to move action item 25.2 to the regular board meeting for adoption will be conducted by a roll call vote. As I call your name, please say yes or no to approve this motion. Joyce Ellis McNeil,
Yes.
Danielle Green, Laura McIntyre.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
No.
Diana Wright,
Yes.
Vera Perry.
Yes.
I'm going to go back to Miss Green. All right, Carol McIntosh, yes. The motion has passed. 4 yeses, 1 no, and 1 Miss Green was not available. Academic Committee of the Whole action items 25.3, authorization to purchase approved items from section 35A with additional instructional time for the fiscal year 20 grant. And I'm going to go to Ms. Murphy for that information.
Thank you. I seek your approval to move action item 25.3, authorization to purchase approved items from section 35A 5, additional instructional time FY21 grant to the regular board meeting on January 20th, 2021 for approval.
So moved.
Second.
It has been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeking no further discussion, the motion to move action item 25.3 to the regular board meeting for adoption will be conducted by a roll call vote. As I call your name, please say yes or no to approve this motion. Joyce Ellis McNeil,
Yes.
Danielle Green, Laura McIntyre,
No.
Vera Perry,
Yes.
Diana Wright,
Yes.
Carol McIntosh, yes. Is Ms. Green back on the line? No? Okay. The motion passes 4 yeses, 1 no. Superintendent Stewart, do you have any remarks to make?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Okay.
Thank you for asking. Just wanted to remind the board that I sent you a couple emails, and Board Member McIntyre, this was last week, and I'm sorry at the time I did not have your Flint board email, but I forwarded you guys a couple emails last week in regards to the governor as well as MDHHS announcements in regards to the plan for in regards to the return of face-to-face instruction and the option by March 1st. As you guys know, our kids have been on remote instruction since the start of the school year. And originally we had stated that for as long as we had an option and the positivity rate, the percentages were high, we would continue to stay with remote instruction. Due to the announcement that was made last week, I wanted to start teeing up the board in regards to a conversation of bringing our staff back as well as our students. With the date of March 1st, it is my goal is bringing staff back starting next week. That way staff will have at least a month to engage in professional development, get comfortable with maneuvering in the building themselves, have PD with the use of the technology called the OWL. And what the OWL does is for those students who do want to return face-to-face, they can be in the classroom. And for those students who want to continue with distance learning, they can continue to be remote and see what the teacher is doing in the classroom. So having the staff to get comfortable, to engage in professional development, and to get comfortable. We had surveyed our parents to see the percentage of our parents who wanted to have their students return face-to-face and the percentage who wanted their kids to continue with the remote learning. And at the time when we last did this survey, back in November, 41.1% of our parents wanted their students to return face-to-face. 41.1% wanted them to return face-to-face, and 57.7% wanted their kids to stay online, no matter what the district decided to do. And so we need to start thinking about and planning for that 41.1%. And so having the staff to return next week would give us that option of thinking about planning for what that looks like in our school buildings. Then with the thought of our students, we have a winter break in February. And our winter break in February is from February 15th through February 19th. Our kids will return to school on February 22nd. And we were looking for a perfect, well, I won't say perfect, but a good segue to bring our kids back. And I think that right after winter break, that would be a good intersection to bring our kids back on February 22nd. Those that want to return face-to-face and those that want to continue with remote learning, they would be able to. And so February 22nd would be kind of like a good switching point, a good transition point for us with bringing those families who want to come back face-to-face. And so that's what I'm looking at. Staff coming back next week. Then we have an intercession in February, and then our kids returning on February 22nd, so that we could have the face-to-face option for our kids by the March 1st date that was put out there by the governor and MDHHS last week. And so I wanted to share that information. With you this week. Next week we will have a presentation with for our extended COVID learning plan. We have to do that presentation with you every 30 days just to give you data as to what's been going on with our scholars since we've been in this remote environment. And so that presentation will be done with you next week, and then I will look to the board for a official vote for our scholars returning to school on February 22nd. And so I wanted to share that information with you today.
Okay, who all has their hand up for comment?
McNeil, Joyce McNeil.
Okay, and I would go after Miss Joyce. Anybody else? Okay, go ahead, Miss McNeil.
Hey, that was a good presentation you just did, Superintendent Anita Stewart. One of the questions, that I do get is that some of the constituents or neighborhood would like to see or hear from some of the board members, and I would like to get an opportunity to walk through the schools and look at them myself, so I can have that information where I can talk to them. I am also a community public health navigator for the COVID. So it would help me out a lot when I'm talking to parents and talking to them about COVID. They always tell me, what do I think? And I can't tell them what I think until I get inside the school. So is there some type of provision for a board member to walk around in the school to see what they have done?
Absolutely, yes, ma'am. You can contact if this is a, let me see, you can contact me, and I'll be more than happy to set that up for you. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I would like to have that set up. I get ready to do about 3 or 4 family talking about COVID, and so I would like to be prepared to say, because parents do want their kids to come back to school.
Yes.
They're afraid, and when they see people like myself are working in their community, they can trust us, if that's the proper word to say. So. And another question, what are we going to do, or do we have a plan? I know a couple of students that has COVID, and they're dealing with asthma, acute asthma from it. And do we have something in place for those kids, or is there something they need to put in place? One teacher in Detroit was saying it's a form or something called a 540, because the asthma is so bad from the COVID, that the school can accommodate those kids that have came in contact with the COVID?
I think you're referring to the 504.
Yeah, that's the 504.
Okay, yeah, you just had the numbers kind of mixed up. Yes, ma'am. So 504, and that is for accommodations and modifications for children who may need those accommodations. And so parent can contact their child's school, and the principal can help the parent to be able to complete, to go through the process for a 504, so that they can look at what accommodations may be needed for the child. I do know of a couple children who have acute asthma, and they are not planning to return face-to-face. They're planning to continue with the distance learning, and that is a parent's option. Parents have the option of their children returning face-to-face, or they have the option of continuing with the remote learning. But for the 504, they would need to contact their child's school.
Okay, thanks so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for asking.
And this, no, does anybody else have their hand up or need to be recognized?
Are we in letter E or are we in letter F?
Let me see where we at.
Should be an F by now.
No, we're still in E with remarks from individual board members.
Okay, could I be recognized, Ms.
Yes.
President?
Go ahead, Ms. Perry.
Okay, I have some great news. One of our former students who graduated from Flint Southwestern in 2005, Victoria McCaskey Burton Harris, she ran for the prosecuting attorney for Wayne County and did very well in her showing there. Did not make it. However, she has been asked by Ellie Savat, who is the prosecuting attorney for Washtenaw County. She's now been sworn in as the chief assistant prosecuting attorney for Washtenaw County. She was a member of our student senate here. She graduated from U of M, Ann Arbor. Law school was Wayne State. She started her own law firm in Detroit, and it's called McCaskey Law PLLC. So that's just some of the great things that we have. And I have other students that from time to time I will bring it up, that our students have done very well with the different programmings we had to help them. And I just like to make sure we leave with that positive note.
Awesome. Are there any more comments? Okay, let me find my page. Okay. Before we adjourn, no other board members have comments. As you know, we will be fulfilling a vacancy on our board. Applications were due to Monica by 4:00 p.m. today. The board is planning to hold interviews on Friday, January 15th, 2021, starting at 3:00 p.m. to fill the seat. Please stay tuned to our website as a link will be posted for the public to join. Our next regular board meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, January 20th, 2021 at 6:30 p.m. Seeing no further action, I declare the board committee of the whole meeting adjourned. Please don't leave just yet. We have a special meeting starting right now. Okay, let me pull the information up for that. I would like to call the Flint Board of Education Special Board meeting to order at 9:10 p.m. I will be taking a roll call. As I call your name, please reply present for the public record. Joyce Ellis McNeil.
Present.
Laura McIntyre.
Present.
Myself, I'm present. Vera Perry.
Present.
Diana Wright. Diana Wright. Do we have enough for a quorum? We have 4 people, don't
He
we?
is no longer here. I see yourself, Ms. Ellis McNeil, Ms. Perry, Ms. McIntyre. So we have 4.
You do have a quorum.
Okay. Okay, so we have Ms. Joyce Ellis McNeil present, Ms. Danielle Green is not present, Ms. Laura McIntyre present, myself, Carol McIntosh present, Ms. Vera Perry present, and Ms. Diana Wright is not present. She's absent. At this time, the board will hear any comments from the public. Members of the public are reminded that the Board of Education by its bylaw 1370 is not under obligation to answer questions, make statements or comments, and respond to the issues raised by the public. In general, such issues will be referred to the superintendent for investigation, study, or recommendation. Any public members wishing to address the board must raise their hand or submit a comment in the chat section to alert Stephen that you want to speak. Stephen, we'll start
Good
your.
evening, board. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
You can go ahead.
Sorry about that. There's currently no comments or any hands raised at this time.
Okay. The public is reminded that you may also send email to the Flint Board of Education at flintschools.org to have your comments read at the board meetings. Thank you. New business action item. Board committee. Is this right? Board committee of a whole action item 21.9, or is this some old business we've already handled? Yeah, that's old. Okay, so is this meeting adjourned? Is it anything else?
Hold
No,
tight.
I'm sorry. Board President, we have to vote on this because this was the one that was moved from the COW to a special board meeting tonight to be voted on.
Oh, the one with the Myosha
Yes,
situation.
the Myosha citation, yes, ma'am.
So I would
So,
like, go ahead, Ms. Stewart.
I seek your approval to approve action item 21.9, resolution to settle Myosha citation.
Okay, we will need a board roll call vote for this.
I
Wait a minute, let me see.
gotta
Hold on 1 second.
make the motion. Right.
Yes, you need a motion.
Okay,
I so move.
I'd like to make a motion to move this item to the board meeting for next week.
No, Ms. Board President, this is for tonight.
Oh, for this special meeting. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I would like
So
to
you need a motion from one of your board members.
I make the motion.
and we need a second.
Second.
Okay, it has been properly motioned and seconded. Board members, as I call your name, please say
You
present.
need a discussion. Is there any discussion?
Okay, well, my thing here is not, let me move down and see if let me see, board committee resolution 29. This thing is almost, okay, so do we have any discussion from, if there is no discussion, no further discussion, as I call your name, we're taking a roll call vote right now, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. As I call your name, please answer yes or no. Joyce Ellis McNeil,
Yes.
Laura McIntyre,
Yes.
Carol McIntosh, yes. Vera Perry?
Yes.
Okay, so the board passes this 4-0. At this time, the board will hear any comments from the public. So do we hear comments from the public again?
Carol, you didn't call my name for the
Oh,
vote.
gone, because I had been calling you. Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. I had to log off for a minute.
Oh, I'm sorry, Miss Wright. Board
That's okay.
member Diana Wright.
Yes.
So we have a vote of 5-0. So now at this time, are we hearing comments from the public again?
No, this is from your board members. Any final comments from your board members?
Okay, so does any of the board members have any final comments concerning this matter?
Not that matter, concerning just anything.
Okay, does any of the board members have any comments at this time?
I would like to, I forgot about Ben Stein's comment asking about the state of Southwestern and the what's happening with privatization, and I would like to answer him that that is something that that I'm very much interested in and will be looking into, and hopefully get back with some further information.
Did he address questions or comments? He did. Is this something he brought to you personally, or is this?
No, he mentioned it in public comments.
Okay, so who would be able to answer that for her, Ms. Stewart? Would you be able to give her some enlightening as it pertains to that?
I'm just saying that it's something that, thank you for bringing it to our attention, and it's something that's very important that will be looked into. I just wanted to respond to Mr. Stein from the first meeting. That's all. I didn't have the opportunity earlier. I didn't want it to seem like the public comments were going unrecognized. Thank you.
Okay, does any board members have any final comments before we adjourn? Seeing no further action, I declare the special board meeting adjourned. Have a good night.